And we are live at the Whine Down. Someone actually said, I thought you weren't doing it anymore, but we do apologise. We had to reschedule this twice, but we are back. Myself, Gabrielle Dolan, and Janine Garner here. Hello, Janine.
Hello, Ral. How are you? I love the fact that someone was thinking we weren't doing it anymore. Were we in someone's calendar?
I know, we must be in someone's calendar. Now, it's a little bit of false advertising tonight on the Whine Down because we are not drinking wine. So, Janine, are you doing Dry July? Is that your...
No, we stupidly, before the COVID lockdown in Sydney, saying it really quickly, decided with a friend that we were going to go on some crazy 4-week keto, no alcohol, lose the weight that we put on during last lockdown challenge. And so that is why, literally, I think I've got about 700 grams to go to hit my target weight. And I'm hoping to do it overnight because I want to have a blowout tomorrow night or this weekend and just ruin it all. So I'm just, I must be famous. I must be famous, right? You know what happened after our last Whine Down?
Tell me.
I got sent a bottle.
Of what?
So someone's been following us on Instagram from Banks Botanicals and literally sent me a bottle. And this is crafted non-alcoholic spirit, and it actually tastes rather nice. So the timing couldn't have been more perfect. So any of you that are non-alcoholics, give it a go. Thank you to whoever sent it to me. It is delicious.
And where the hell is mine? Banks Botanical or whatever. Yeah, you can't. If you're sending endorsements, like you can't play favourites. You got to go to both. So
that's true.
So I needed someone to send me a non-alcoholic cocktail mixer because after I said I'm committing to you, I'll do non-alcohol as well. I went to the pantry where I thought we had some and we didn't. So I'm slightly because I wasn't going to have alcohol because I had my second AZ jab today, fully vaccinated. But I am having a cocktail, but it's literally a half a shot of, I think it's Melfi gin, which is an Italian gin. So it's half a shot. Half a shot of gin is seriously not drinking.
That looks really pretty though. Show it to me again.
So it's red. It's red.
Did you make that yourself? What?
Yeah, it's just red, and I just put in tonic water, and I've got my little ice cubes that are in the shape of a G. How's that for branding?
Like?
It's meant to be gin. How's this even for branding? When we did the book launch in March, I've got little cocktail stirrers made up, and it's got Gabrielle Dolan magnetic stories. How cool is that? That was not my idea. I have to give Elise credit.
How many? Didn't you theme your cocktails?
Yeah, I did theme my cocktails. I've got them here. They were called Spritz Story. So that was an actual Spritz story. And then there was Genetic Connection. You know, that was a gin. And then there was Magnetic Negroni. So yeah, that was my actual only contribution to the book launch. Coming up with the names of the cocktails, besides, of course, writing the book, which, you know, clearly is probably the most important thing of the book launch.
Anyone would think you're good with words, Ral. Hey, Kim Pike has joined us. Remember Kim?
I remember Kim.
Lady.
Kim I remember we met Kim years ago doing a session with EY, is a leadership program. Kim came up with the best tagline that she put on her LinkedIn profile. And Kim, I still sort of keep an eye on to make sure you still use it, and you still use it. And it's called, her tagline is "Making Tax Sexy." I just love it. I love it. I need to put my glasses on.
I've got to ask you, are you still making? Hey, ladies, are you still making tax sexy, Kim?
She
give
is.
us a hell yeah.
Of course she is.
Actually, I'm going to talk about Kim because I'm trying desperately to share. How on earth have you managed to got it playing live on your LinkedIn posts? I need to work out how you've done that.
So I can tell you the answer to that today because I joined to go to LinkedIn Live
Yeah.
And I did a podcast this morning with a guy in Canada, and he was going live. And I said, are we going live on the usual Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube? He goes, no, I'm not on LinkedIn because it's a beta site and they're only allowing a certain amount of people on it. So I just think I got in early because you have to apply. You've got to apply for it. And
I've got it. I've got it. I just haven't used it.
I got it. I got it.
I got it. I'm going to just quickly share.
You sound like you're on bloody Love Island, Janine. I got it.
I know. God, would you have gone on Love Island, talking Love Island?
I would never go on any reality TV show unless it was like a really good cooking show that didn't make the contestants all look like, idiots.
Oh no, I'd be rubbish. I would. The two shows that I would love to go on are Survivor and The Amazing Race. I would love to do The Amazing Race.
Oh, actually, I wouldn't mind The Amazing Race. Something like I wouldn't do Survivor. I think The Amazing Race is a physical challenge, and that would be good. Yeah, I could do that.
Maybe we should do it together. Maybe we should apply for one of the future shows.
We could get
imagine that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
Yeah,
hey, whilst Kim's still here, I don't know if you've seen Kim. Kim, I'm going to embarrass you now via Ral and I's social channels, but she posted something absolutely hilarious on Instagram. I wish we could bring Kim in, and I wish Kim could come online with the top that she was wearing. She was actually showing on Instagram her version of beer pong, of dry July beer pong, being on her own in ISO. And it was brilliant. She had this T-shirt on with ping pong balls attached and catching it herself in her glass. Kim, genius. It made me laugh. Next show, you see?
Kim, you're losing.
You never know who's watching.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So talking stories. Let's talk stories. What is have you had a good or not so good story that's come into your world this last month, Ral?
So, yes, I have, Janine. Feeling a little bit like Roy in High HG with that answer. You know, I'm all about stories and brand stories, and to me, it's the experiences you have, and does it generate really good stories, or does it really generate really bad stories? And it was just the other day I had my little headset, busted, and I rang and I ordered this stuff, and the people on the other end of the phone were just amazing, like just did such great customer service. And then in the end, after speaking to them for ages and ages, I actually decided not to buy it, but they're gone, that's okay, blah, 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 we're all good. So that was good. And then the phone rang about an hour later, and it was someone cold calling. So, and when you go, sorry, where are you from again? It was from a debt collector who were cold calling people to see if I needed debt collecting services. I was horrified. Seriously, on behalf of all Australians doing it bloody tough at the moment. And I just said, are you serious? And I hung up, and then I was so outraged. I never do this. I got onto their Facebook page and left a really bad review saying we're in the middle of a pandemic. Half of us are in lockdown. Businesses are doing it tough, and you're cold calling people to see if they need debt collection services, almost like it's sort of like ambulance chasers type thing. And what was interesting, that I looked at all their previous reviews, they had a really bad review, like 2.2 or something out of 5. So many other people had written the same thing, literally saying you are cold calling in the middle of a pandemic. That is disgusting behaviour, don't you think?
I think it is disgusting behaviour, and that just shows you, doesn't it, how like bad behaviour, bad stories travel so quickly. Why you've got to be so careful about what the messages are that you're putting out there. Yeah, exactly. And there's some really good stories too, though. Just trying to think of them now.
Well, you've started now. No, there have been. Someone put on Facebook the other day that they were went to a coffee. They were traveling. I don't know where they were traveling to, but they stopped at this like coffee van, takeaway van, and they went. They ordered a coffee, and they went to pay for it, and realised that they, didn't have the money. And the man said, "Just take it, and pay us next time you come through." And like, so that's good stories. That happens.
Yeah. Oh, we've got hello, Todd from New Zealand. Hello. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, Todd.
He called us ladies. Hello, ladies.
Yeah, I know. I like to be a lady.
I've got another story that happened to me, Janine, and it sort of made me start thinking about what are the things that you're putting off. So I went to the doctors a couple of weeks ago. So it's actually a new doctor. Our doctor retired. Oh my God. That is one of the most devastating things that can happen to you. I know that's a massive exaggeration, but when your family doctor that you've been going to for over 20 years retires, and he wasn't even that old. I sort of saying, Chris, you were not that old to retire. He was like only 62 or something. Anyway, he retired, and so I had to go to a new doctor. And I'm sitting there for my flu shot ages ago. And I saw a sign on the thing saying that the PAPS, when you do your pap smears test, you only have to do it every 5 years. And I go, oh, is that new? And she went, no, that's been around for about 4 years. I went, oh. And she goes, when was the last time you had a pap smear? And I go, oh, probably I must be coming up. It must be due. I reckon maybe 2 years ago, maybe 18 months, 2 years ago. And I said, I know I haven't had it during COVID, so it probably is getting closer to 2 years. And she checks. She goes, do you want me to check? I go, yes. And she just checks and she goes, would it have been 2016? I was like, and I went, no. I went, no. And then when you go, oh, maybe 5 years. Not that everyone needs to know, but I had that done today. And then I thought, while I'm doing a little bit of, self-care, might as well go get my second shot of AstraZeneca, which was, I'm not quite, I booked it in for next Friday because that was going to be 12 weeks. And I just thought, I might as well do it now. Not put it off. 11 weeks, that's enough. Anyway, so fully vaccinated. So it made me think, what else? I don't know. Is there anything that you realise that you're putting off?
Look at those.
But you're not putting that off. You can't because, well, I don't know. A hairdresser's closed in New Zealand.
New Zealand. It's done. Tracy Ezard's joined us. Hey, Tracy, I hope you're getting yourself a cocktail sorted. So that's put off. I think this goes back to, I've got a lot of a lot of fun things I'm putting off, which is actually starting to get really on my nerves, to be honest. So, putting off booking a holiday, putting off booking and reserving a table in a nice restaurant, putting off thinking about organising my daughter's 16th birthday and my son's 18th birthday. So there's a lot of life admin stuff. And then what about business?
But in fairness, Janine, with those social things, you are in lockdown, and it's pretty hard it's pretty hard to make plans when you're thinking, we still may be in lockdown in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. But yeah, you just reminded me, I actually booked a holiday to, how I did the trek with Sister Works to raise money for Sister Works. They're doing it again next year, and I got the as a heads up because I'm the ambassador and I'm very, very important. I got the heads up of when the dates are next year. So, and it's in Tasmania, and straight away before it's even made official, I've booked Steve and I 3 nights at some unbelievable resort in Freycinet National Park. And then I think we're going to do another small walk afterwards at Maria Island. Anyway, he doesn't know that yet.
That's That's something to look forward to. Yeah. So we have got Tracy that's hopefully sorted herself out with a drink. Freya,
hello, Freya. She's got PNC. I know. So, Freya and I were old school mums. Well, we weren't old. We were just, our kids went to school together. We weren't, we're not old. Freya's not old. Freya's younger and funkier than me, but she's got a G&T, which is good.
Who else is joining? coming, ask us some questions. What should
Yes,
we
that's this
talk
question.
about?
And what are you putting off? What are you putting off?
Yeah, what are you
If
putting
people want to
off?
make comments, what are you putting off that you sort of know you should, and for what, and also for what reason are you putting it off? That's probably important too.
So there's for me, it's all personal admin. It just sums up my life. I put off learning to cook because I don't like cooking. Tomorrow, this will make you laugh. So
Hang on, are you ever planning to learn how to cook?
No,
I don't think that's called putting it off. I just think that's called refusal.
That's intentional refusal.
Intentional refusal.
So do you know what I have done? Not put off. What I have done. So last week, and I don't know whether this is part of all of this COVID world changing, losing control of not really knowing what's going to happen in the next couple of months. But what I decided to do, Ral, is I decided that as of last week, I am now running my business as I see it running in 3 years' time. And so what I did is I literally spent it's taken me 2 days. I spent one day literally rebuilding my calendar. So I decided that I'm not going to work on a Friday at all. I decided that I am not starting work until a certain time of day. I decided, like I always do, no school holidays, etc., etc. So I totally remapped my calendar. Then I reset my Calendly. So, because my diary was literally, it was doing my nut in. I was looking at it going, this is getting out of control. I don't know if anyone listening had the same experience during these last 18 months where your diary just got overtaken because of opportunity and you lost control of it. That's where I was. And so I've decided I'm running my business as I see it running in 3 years' time. And as part of that, obviously, there's a few sort of historical things that I'm having to work through. So the last couple of weeks, the Fridays have been filled with stuff. But I'm a little bit excited because tomorrow I finish at 1:00. And then moving forward, that's it. No more Fridays. No more Fridays done. They're there. They're in my calendar. Now, this is where it gets a little bit sad because I was starting to get so excited about having a long weekend. Jason, my husband, then went, because we can't get cleaners in or something, we actually went, we've got to do some cleaning this weekend. I went, you know what? I'll do it tomorrow afternoon. So we've got the weekend for free. How sad am I? It's like, where's that come from?
I think you can intentionally not do cooking. Sure, you can intentionally not do cleaning.
No, but I'm quite strangely excited about it because it means that the house is going to be beautifully clean over the weekend. And the other thing I'm wondering is whether to do a total digital detox this weekend because it's been mental.
Okay, yeah, you could do
that. I'm just not sure I can.
I must admit, not having the cleaners come around during lockdown's been, I know first world problems, right? But God, anyway, but I actually got a new vacuum cleaner, an air bagless one and on the stick, and I actually enjoy it. Like I walk around and I do the vacuuming like every 2 or 3 days, which I don't know what's happened.
What have our lives become?
The novelty may wear off. Hey,
so that gets me thinking, what would you do differently in 3 years' time? What's your business going to look like in 3 years' time?
So that's interesting because you're sort of now doing business by design, which is sort of like life by design, really, isn't it? Yeah. And so I know both of us made that call, quite a few years ago, not working. So interesting with me, Janine, not working school holidays, but as of, pretty much the end of this year, school holidays are no longer an issue because I've got no kids in school, but I'm going to still keep, not necessarily, it might not be right on school holidays, but I'm still going to keep that having 2 weeks off every 10 or 12 weeks. So almost breaking my year into quarters. They'll both be at uni. I could have uni school holidays off, but that's like about 27 months a year. I wouldn't be able to do any work. But, Yeah, I very rarely work Friday. Not having to work Friday is, I mean, not, working 5 days a week is ridiculous. I think just the way, because I predominantly run training workshops, most companies wouldn't run training on a Monday or a Friday, which is great. So I very rarely have delivery on Monday and Friday. It's just, and then Friday is, I get up, I go to the gym, I have coffee with my girlfriends, and I just, and then figure out what I'm going to cook for dinner and stuff, and it's very relaxing. Do a bit of emails, do a bit of writing, but it's I've actually had quite a lot of so in answer to your question, the one really good thing that's come out, I reckon, of COVID is that this acceptance of virtual delivery. And even though I do love in-person, face-to-face training, I do love it, and I do love travel. Not as much. So the point is, if we stick to the thing where 50% of training still might be virtual, which means you're probably reducing your travel by 50%, I think it's going to be a really, really nice balance. So I think going forward, that would be it. I think the way I'm tracking at the moment, I reckon it's really good to just keep going along. It's almost so you've got a really good plan. I reckon almost my plan is just a bit of status quo. I'm really happy with the status quo at the moment, but I think I'm happy with that because of some of the tough decisions I put in quite a few years ago to get Life by Design.
Yeah. And we've still got a few years of school ahead of us. So you've got to work around that and life stage and stuff. So, yes. But it is an interesting concept to think about what you would change, because I think this is, we decided we don't want to do too much conversation about COVID because it just is, the media is just getting depressing. But I do think that the reality check around controlling what you can control and taking ownership over what you decide to do next is interesting. Do you know what I'm seeing, what I'm noticing? In the last, I reckon, month, the amount of phone calls that have come into the office from individual executives wanting support has been, I've never seen it before. Like, I used to have this theory, this hypothesis, and Kim, if you're still online, I'm curious to hear what you think, but used to have this hypothesis that people that worked in corporate wouldn't necessarily pay for their own personal development unless their company paid for it. But that's almost being totally reversed. The amount of calls coming in from individuals that are taking ownership of their own personal development. And I'm curious as to why that is. I'm wondering whether, as a result of the last 18 months, people are going, actually, I own my career. I take control over my next decisions. What I think and the skills I have, I need to develop to make sure I have that competitive edge. I don't know. Are you seeing anything similar?
No, I can't say I have. I guess we sort of operate more. You operate a lot more in the public market, so you probably have more opportunities of people coming in paying for themselves. I do a little bit of that. I mean, and you've always said that, you own your employee owns your job, you own your career. So maybe it's just the people you hang around with are finding getting your message, or it could be with the bloody shit show that's been the last 18 months. People could just be reassessing what they want to do next, or maybe corporates aren't investing in as much training because there's still some people that go, well, if we can't do it face to face, why do it? And so maybe hasn't been the investment in it. So who knows? Tracy's got a comment on finding leaders are wanting to seek more that is for themselves, so more willing to spend on themselves. Yes, Tracy, I think that's sort of what or what you're seeing, Janine. So it'd be interesting if anyone else on the call is seeing that or actually done it themselves. Have you invested, your own money to go do professional development? Because you and I are both amazed the amount of people that don't invest in themselves because their company doesn't pay for it. You know what I'm always surprised at is I go into corporates and people will go, oh, this is the first professional development I've done in like 8 years. And it was like, and I know the company they're working for offers heaps of professional development. I'm going, but why? And they go, I've just been too busy. Or it's like people that don't prioritize professional development when it is handed to them and paid for by their employees. It's madness.
Yes, absolute madness. Tracy, are you finding that? Would love to know. Actually, Tracy Ezard has got a new book too. I've got one here that Tracy, I have to apologize publicly. I've been so mental. I've got a couple of other books, including yours, that right there, but I haven't opened it because if I open it, it disappears into my bookshelf. So it's still there in the package so that I can open it and do the big reveal online about how awesome I could do. All right, Tracy.
Look at this, Tracy. Did you expect this? Did you expect this when you? This is what happens. This is what happens when you come in and drop in on the Whine Down. We might even feature Janine's going to do it. You're very good at the. I've got it. It's literally still in
the reveal. You get paid a fortune with this on if I was an Instagrammer, I could have thousands of followers. All right, so let's see what's in this package today, ladies and gents.
It actually better be Tracy's book. Oh,
that's I did double check. I did double check.
Unless Tracy's pulled in those bloody debt collectors and she's.
Tracy, is it safe for me to open this, or have you put a secret package in as well? So just for those of you that may not know, I interviewed the incredible Tracy Ezard on my podcast, Unleashing Brilliance. She is a phenomenal thought leader and does a hell of a lot of incredible work in the education space. And she's got some amazing IP around ferocious leadership. And what I love about it, look at this. Pleased to finally have this to send. I heard Tracy's IP in the early days as she was building it and got her on my podcast because I wanted to share it. Oh, I've got some coffee.
Oh, Tracy, you are taking the reveal and the gifting up to next level.
Oh no, wait, it gets better. Tracy, I hope you're recording this so you can use it. Look at that packaging.
Oh, that's impressive.
Ooh. Wait, let's see if I can open it now. Look at the sticker, ferocious warm. All right, let's see.
You're raising the standard, Tracy.
I know. Maybe this could become a regular segment on our show, Raoul. Maybe we could do book launch openings on the
I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want people sending us their books. I want people sending us their wine for us to taste.
Oh, yeah, wine.
Why are you doing the book launch? I ran some storytelling training yesterday for a whole heap of winemakers. How cool is that? Where would we be without the winemakers?
Did you tell them that we do the Whine Down? I hope you did. Are you ready? Are you ready? I did check out it.
Back to Tracy.
Are you ready?
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, 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 ding. Look at that cover.
Look at that. Look at the cover.
Oh,
who did the cover, Tracy? Who did the cover for you? Is it one of our mutual friends that did the cover for you? I do believe.
Look at it. Ferocious Warmth, school leaders who inspire and transform. At the best of times, leadership is messy. It sure is. It's about a way of being, not doing. It's nebulous, nuanced, and elusive. As much to do with feeling and energy as thinking and planning. This is what the paradox is that Tracy calls ferocious warmth. Oh, you've got coloured pages in here too.
Oh, that's impressive. How did you who did Wiley publish that, or is it?
No, let me find out for you. Just
and
a second.
Yes, the amazing Kieran Flanagan did. Kieran is a friend of the Whine Down. Can we call her a friend of the Whine Down if she's never dropped in? She's a friend of ours.
No.
Kieran, we can't call you a friend of the Whine Down if you don't.
Tracy's a friend of the Whine Down now.
Well, Tracy's a friend of the Whine Down now.
I don't know who published this. Who published this, Tracy?
I think it might have been self-published.
Me, myself, and I. It looks beautiful. I can't wait to read it.
And Kieran Kieran Flanagan is amazing for any branding or stuff like just books, white papers, anything. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's a plug for Tracy.
Have you got anything to unravel and show the world? I don't know. I've done two things. I've done free booze or non-alcoholic, and
I've got a bloody string of wool here. I can unravel that, but it won't. That would make for riveting live streaming. Unravel a bit of wool.
That matches my jumper. Someone asked me this the other day. Here's a question for you. What is the one thing in your house that you couldn't live without?
Okay, I'll just go back to the wine again. You got to narrow it down.
No,
like the one thing in your kitchen.
No. What's the
and it
first
can't be.
thing
It can't. Yeah, you can't say pathetic things like my husband.
No. What's the one thing? Unless you class your husband as a thing, what's the one thing in your house?
He's just a thing I've got on at the moment for the last 28 years.
Yeah. Kim, what's yours? If you're still online, put it in the chat. What is the one thing in your house that
you can't do without?
Tracy's put garlic crusher.
Oh, no. You can be, Tracy, you can be without a garlic crusher because you can chop it. Although I would go with the microplane, which does garlic and does ginger. The microplane's a very, very good kitchen utensil. Janine, you've got no idea what we're talking about.
No idea what you're talking about.
I've got a really, really nice wine glass that I bought from in East Berlin. And I tried to order them again online, but they didn't have them. And they're stemless. They're actually gin glasses apparently, but I got them for wine. And I bought two and one broke. Alex broke it. Anyway, I've got one and it's my favorite wine glass. And so, I spend a lot of time with that wine glass. So I love that. Obviously, I could use any other glass, but I like it.
You like your wine glass? Mine was really boring. Mine was my bed.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense, your bed. But then you could do things like your shower.
Yeah. What about, let me change it. What if you had to go grab one of the most sentimental, most important things in your house, what would it be? The thing that means so much, that's so special to you, what would it be? Please, Tracy, don't say garlic crusher because I'll be really upset.
I don't have a lot of sentimental things. This clown thing behind me is my mum's, and she's got it's one of those Ladro things, and she's got heaps of them, and she's got when she dies, we're all going to be given one, and this was always mine. And when mum's sort of downsized, I think she's preparing because I don't want you kids to have to come and clean up. Anyway, she said, "Do you want it now?" And I thought, yeah, I'd love that now. And so I've got that. And funnily, I'm looking now. Here's another good story. I did some work with a client based in Singapore. They sent me yesterday this orchid that's about 2 feet tall. It's really massive. And then they said it's this particular orchid is the national flower of Singapore, and it represents strength and beauty. And they said, we wanted to give you that because we believe the relationship we're now forming with you is around strength and beauty, which is nice. It's lovely. But my dad, who passed away 18 months ago, his favourite flower was the orchid, and he actually managed to grow them. So now I'm looking at it and it reminds me of my dad.
Nice. And they last forever, don't they?
They do. They last, I think they last for about 3 months, and then I think they can sort of come back again from, I don't know. I don't really know much about orchids.
Tracy's struggling. She's saying that's a really tricky one.
Tracy's trying harder.
Really put garlic crusher. Kim, what about yours? You're here still. What's yours?
Kim,
What's yours?
And where's our friend from New Zealand? What about yours?
Maybe
to narrow it down. Janine, I think in the house is too hard. You've got to narrow it down by rooms, like in the bedroom, in the bathroom, in the kitchen.
Then it could get a bit naughty.
You don't even know where the kitchen is, do you? What, because I said bedroom, it would still be bed for you, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Hey, we should have a bit of a serious conversation about something, don't you reckon? Quick glass.
Hey, have you been watching the Olympics?
Yeah, well, yes, I have. I'm pretty much forced to watch the Olympics because my little man Carter is obsessed. No, you can't say the kids either, Tracy. Sorry, you're going to work a bit harder. Yeah, I had. And you know what's really interesting? The only Olympics you see here are pretty much the Aussies, isn't it? I haven't seen if England have won anything.
Yeah. What I do love about the Olympics, though, is you do get the opportunity to see a whole heap of other sports. Like, they'll show water polo, and they'll show hockey and surfing and skateboarding. So that's actually really good, as opposed to literally just watching football, rugby, or football.
Have you seen that Jimmy Lee's sketch about coming up with Olympics?
Hilarious. Coming up with the Olympics. I love it when he goes, what event should we have? He goes, running. Let's see how we can run the fastest. He goes, that's a good one. How far? He goes, 100 meters. He goes, and 200 meters, and 400 meters, and 800 meters. And then he goes, and then 1600 meters. He goes, don't be stupid. That is too long. Go 1500 meters. I love
a big stick to jump over or something as high as you can.
And I love the one about, he said, and then let's get a cork and stick feathers in it, and they have to hit it over net. And let's call it good mitten. No. Let's call it bad mitten.
And what's the thing called? A cock.
A cock. Let's call it a cock.
Oh, it's really funny. Jimmy Lee's, I think it is. Anyone that has no idea what we're talking about thinks we've totally lost it.
The guy who decides. So the guy who decides packaging, the guy who decides, and he's been doing some very, very funny COVID stuff about all the different premiers and states. He's been doing some very, very funny stuff on that.
No.
We were going to get serious. What were we going to get serious about?
Yeah,
anything?
well, what about what's your view on the athletes that recently have had the courage and bravery to step away from their sport because of mental health? So I'm thinking about that incredible American gymnast, Simone Biles, who literally was supposed to wipe the slate clean with gold medals. And I think it was yesterday, she pulled out. She pulled out, citing mental health and not feeling in the right headspace. And it's interesting seeing the media response, because a bit like the tennis player, what was she called? Osaka?
Yeah, the Japanese who pulled out of Wimbledon, and there was an Australian basketballer that pulled out of the Olympics too. And she was like, I think our best female, basketballer. It's been interesting, has it? Like that, you've never seen that before, ever. That so many people pull out and actually cite mental health as the reason. For me, one good thing about that is it's really raising the acceptance that mental health isn't. Years ago, and maybe even a few years ago, you wouldn't even talk about it. Like, no one would talk about it. But the fact that athletes are coming out and saying that, but has there been a bit of backlash to it, or?
Oh yeah, there's been a bit of backlash. People saying, essentially, you're paid enough. You should know how to manage your mental health. You're letting the country down, etc., etc., etc. And the reason I was thinking about it is today I interviewed Holly Ransom on my podcast. She's written an awesome book called The Leading Edge. And if you don't know Holly, she's interviewed some incredible people: Condoleezza Rice, Obama, Richard Branson, the Dalai Lama.
Me and Holly have a mutual friend in Barack Obama, where, well, granted, I just shook his hand. She interviewed him. All right, whatever.
We've got a mutual friend too. Lane Beachley is her mentor. Anyway, we were talking about this before we went on the podcast, and the conversation had evolved. We were talking about leadership and how so many of our leaders right now are citing publicly, you know, exhaustion. And I was sharing with her a story this morning that my own network of friends were having a massive rant online this morning. These are people that you know, are running organizations, have multi-million-dollar businesses, that have teams, that are making decisions. And literally the conversation went something like, you know, I'm so busy looking after everyone else. I'm having to make decisions for everyone else. I'm carrying the energy of everyone else. I'm caring for everyone else. Nobody asks me how I'm doing. And I was sharing this with Holly, and that's when we got on to talking about Simone and going, you know, I wonder if the backlash is a result of what people are experiencing globally because of COVID, that for some people that is the anger coming from a place of almost like, lucky you that you can say, I'm actually not competing anymore because my mental health I'm challenged with right now. And for some people, it's almost like, well, lucky for you. I'm trying to hold down my small business, my family, my job, my this, my that, and the other. If only I could jack it in for a while to sort out my mental health. And this is what we were talking about online today and going, it's just quite interesting what is going on in society and the judgment that happens that isn't necessarily always directed at that specific person, but it's from where you're coming from. But there's been a lot of backlash. And equally, I go, isn't it interesting that so many of these high profile people are feeling brave enough to actually stand up and say enough. What a great message it's giving to others to be able to.
Well, it's role modeling, isn't it? It's role modeling to say, and I think some of the ridiculous things is, some people would look at them and go, you get paid billions of dollars. Why would you have any mental health issues? Or, and you know, if they pulled out and said, look, I'm pulling out because my hamstrings are a little bit tight and I don't want to risk it, it would go, oh, okay, that's fair enough. But mental health, no, suck it up. You know, you can't do it. So that's, it just seems, I remember Robbie Williams, you know, your husband lookalike, he talked about his mental health. Jason looks so much like Robbie Williams. Every time that ad comes on for Smooth FM or whatever with Robbie Williams dancing in the golf, I just like, oh my God, it's Jason. Anyway, I digress. But I remember him saying that when he was having, you know, mental health issues and suffering depression and even, you know, attempting suicide, I think, and stuff, like he goes, my dad would always go, what have you got to be sad about? Like, how could you be suffering from depression? Because, like, what in your life is sad about it? And I think that's sort of the same thing. We look at athletes and go, well, what, you know, that's what you get paid for. You should just cope with it, which is, you know, it's just that's just coming from a lack of understanding around mental health.
Yeah, I think Tracy's right. What she said here, it's the weight of the world. It's, you know, with pressure. I mean, would you want that fame? Would you want the whole world to be like, there's something quite nice about people not knowing who you are. Can you imagine walking down the street and being bombarded? It's like, it'd be very hard to maintain yourself in that chaos. And now in this world where every single thing is watched, followed, shared, commented on, it'd be hard.
No, I wouldn't want to be that famous. I remember once I was on a tram and I was coming home from work and I was sitting there and this woman just after a while said, how did you enjoy your holidays? And I looked at her and thinking, I don't know who you are. That's what I was thinking. And she must have seen me look at her and go, who are you? And she goes, oh, you don't know me, but I follow you and read your blog. And obviously I'd blogged about my holidays. And I just thought, yeah, lucky I wasn't there sitting picking my nose or something. Imagine being recognised by instantly.
I remember this similar experience, and I almost wanted the ground to open up. I was in Queensland. I think I might have even been in Noosa checking in for an event I was running, and the receptionist went, "Can you wait? Can you wait? Can you wait?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And literally this girl raced out of the staff room like, oh my God, and it literally, I love you, I love you, I love you. Oh my God, I've been reading your blog and this and the other. And I just was rubbish. I just like, oh, okay, thank you. It's like, you just never know. You just never know.
No. Well, there you go. It's good you got fans. It's good you got good fans everywhere.
But yeah, I do think, and you know what was really impressive? That whole thing, you know, that I was talking about with Holly today about, and that you've just mentioned about you know, it's the behavior piece that people notice. She pulled out the Olympics, but then she was still there supporting her teammates, watching them, celebrating from the sideline. You know, for me, that's just an awesome show of leadership, of that ability to take yourself out of it, so it's not about you, but at the same time lift other people up and support them. It was just great. But yeah, I'm loving the Olympics. What's your favorite Olympic sport? Do you have one?
I used to play softball in my 20s, so I don't mind watching the softball. But it's sort of like I just like watching sports that you don't normally see. I sort of like the swimming, but I think that's only because Australia does pretty well at the swimming. But you know, like skateboarding is new. That's a new sport. That looks amazing. Like you know, when people are skateboarding, my God. And you think, okay, if golf is an Olympic, okay, I'm going to go on a rant. You know what really annoys me is that they have things like golf and tennis in the Olympics. Like this should be for like not professional sports that are like, and even basketball, I think. But I think there's an age limit or something with basketball. But it does annoy me that these really highly professional sports are in the Olympics. But yeah, maybe I'm being a bit picky because cycling's in and that's professional, but they don't get paid like the millions of dollars basketballers do. I digress.
Yeah, I get confused as to who's in and who's out. Like, how come some really great athletes are competing at the Olympics and then other great athletes don't? So how come famous soccer players can't compete at the Olympics, but then you've got great tennis players that can? I don't know what the rules are.
I think I think there's a limit to the amount of, but, you know, it can't be that. That's why America, you know, normally always wins the basketball because they've, you know, but anyway, I don't know. But my favourite, so I do like softball. What's another one of my favourite? Not badminton. You know what I don't mind? The beach volleyball. Here's a thing. So I don't mind the beach volleyball. One of the beach volleyball teams, I think it might have been the Netherlands. The women got fined or whatever because instead of wearing bikinis, they wore shorts.
I know.
I was reading that and I was just like, I had to go, hang on, what year are we in? Are we like in 1840? So men can wear shorts. Men don't have to wear like Speedos. They can wear shorts, but the women wore shorts and I don't know what happened to them, but they weren't allowed to. And I was like,
they got fined. They all got fined. And then Pink, who is the person I would like to be for a day, went on Twitter socials and said she was going to pay all their fines for them because she was supporting exactly what they were saying. Yeah, I don't know who you are, whoever that is. I've put your name there.
You said, are you kidding? I know.
Yeah, no.
Unbelievable. Like, who made the rules? Who said, okay, it wasn't Jimmy decides who makes the rules.
Maybe we do that guy
let's get a ball and play it on sand and hit over net. And what should the men wear? Shorts. And what should the women wear? Bikinis. Because as little as possible. My God. But anyway, I do like beach volleyball. I think that's a bit more exciting than just normal volleyball. What do you like? What's your?
I actually like watching the gymnastics because hey Marty, I think that I actually quite like watching the gymnastics because I'm in awe at how they do it. I literally go, how do you, particularly when you look at the floor exercises where they, take a little run up and then somehow keep spinning in the air forever and land on feet and not move. I go, how much practice does it take for you to actually perfect that? Because even running across in a straight line would kill me, quite frankly.
And the ring things, I saw a guy the other day on the rings, the amount of upper body, where they hold like that. Imagine holding your body up like that.
I know. Can you do the pull-ups at the gym? I can't even do the pull-ups at the gym. So
I reckon I could do one.
Lifting yourself. And they're all of them, the bar, no, what do they call it? The single beam, the beam.
The beam,
so they like walk along like that and then again jump up in the air and land without falling over. It's like, how do you do that? It's ridiculous. Yes. I quite like watching that.
Yeah. Hey,
synchronized swimming makes me laugh. Synchronized swimming. Is that sport or not?
I don't know. The synchronized swimming. That can't be a sport.
The cartoon of blokes in suits with bikini bottoms and they're heading. They are the Olympic officials deciding what women to wear. No, I haven't seen it.
No. It's like what was your take on John Coates ordering what's her name, the Queensland Premier, to go to the opening ceremony? Did you see that footage?
I did. Well, maybe he's one of those that said they have to wear bikini bottoms.
Maybe. All right, we'll just leave it at that. I think that's like, what? Oh my God. Hey. Have you been watching Miss Unrepresented? No, what is it? Miss, the Annabelle Crabb thing on.
No, I haven't.
Misrepresented. So I think it's a 3 or 4 part series on Channel 2. It has been, love watching it. And the podcast, she also has a podcast about the thing too. And I binge listened to the podcast last Saturday afternoon, just walking around the house listening to it. That's been some amazing things with Parliament and, the first women in Parliament. And it took 50 years to get the female toilets in there and stuff. It was just some of the stories they're talking about that, yes, some happened 50 years ago. Yeah, that's ridiculous. But some happened 5 years ago and you're going, oh my God, what's going on?
I know. Well, that's the thing we were talking about last month, that club here in Sydney, I think it is. I can't remember. It's wiped from my memory, but I remember us talking about that last time, of the guys that voted that women can come into the club.
Yeah.
It's all about there's still a lot of work to do, isn't there? There's still a lot of work to do. What is, I bet you haven't, but I'm going to admit it. So you see, one of the things I've been talking to a lot of people about in this crazy, crazy, crazy world that we are in right now is sometimes you've just got to zone out. You got to zone out from reality. So what do you zone out?
You're going to start talking about reality TV, aren't you?
I'm just going to talk. I'm going to own it. I'm going to be honest about it. That my favorite show on TV right at the moment, because of how it makes me laugh till my belly hurts so much and cry.
Bachelor, aren't you?
No. Oh no, I'm not going to. Beauty and the Geek. Oh my God, it's brilliant. It's just such a beautiful show.
I must admit, I did watch Farmer Wants a Wife, but
did you?
I watched it last time. I was a little bit disappointing this time, but anyway, I watched it. The show I did love was Love on the Spectrum. Did you watch that?
Oh yeah, I did.
That was so gorgeous. That was really good.
It was brilliant. So I need to watch Misrepresented. I might listen to that whilst I'm doing my cleaning tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah. Just say to Jason, how I said I'm cleaning here. There's this show I've got to watch for research and I think it's only 4 shows and they only go for half an hour. So it's 2 hours of viewing, but it's very good.
Oh, hi, Nathaniel Small, Beauty and the Geek transformation. So the transformation of some of these individuals is phenomenal. And it's a really great human experiment, because essentially the premise is, I wonder if opposites can actually attract and get to know each other. The beauties have gone on record as saying, all of them are talking about what these guys are teaching them. And the guys, their transformation, not just in terms of physically how they look, but in their confidence, in the way that they're doing stuff. Oh, they made one mistake last night or whatever night. They decided to send them in to pitch to a group of business people at a networking event. And this beauty and geek had to go and basically talk about business for this networking event. And a mutual friend of, I don't know if you know Jane Jackson, she's been on my podcast too. So she was the facilitator of the event. Anyway, they talk about putting people into boxes. They dressed them up and they walked in with briefcases. I'm like, I can't remember the last time I saw a briefcase. It's like, what are you doing?
The corporate look from the 80s and 90s.
Oh my God,
right. No one has briefcases anymore, do they?
Those black square albums.
What caused that, I wonder?
Too much bashing around the head on the tube. I don't know. Well, they're not particularly useful, are they?
No,
I mean, you can't get that much in them.
No, I think maybe the sort of the satchel shoulder bag came in a bit. I think the suitcase, very 80s. Yeah, I wonder what happens to companies that make suitcases these days. Not a lot.
What because it is nearly 7:00, what businesses do you reckon are up for total overhaul on the back of this?
Oh, because it is going to be, there's going to be some companies that thrive, isn't it? And then some that don't. But up for a total overhaul. I don't know. Maybe the events industry.
Yeah. Maybe the publishing industry a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole distribution models are changing.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about changing distribution models, I've reverted to record players.
I've noticed that on your stream. Because you got it for your birthday, didn't you?
Yeah.
What's your favourite LP you've been? Your final?
Depends on my mood.
Oh, right.
Depends on my mood. So
I'm going to play when you're cleaning tomorrow afternoon.
Whilst listening to Ms. Represented, I'm loving a bit of Prince. It's interesting. I keep pulling out all the old albums. I'm building up my my collection again. But I love Prince and Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms. Do you remember that album?
I do. I wasn't a big fan of Dire Straits. I think at the time my boyfriend at the time loved it, and I think I got sick to death of hearing it. But it is a good album. It is a good album.
It reminds me of, so I would have been 13 or 14, I think, when that came out. And
no. How old are you?
50.
I'm 54, and I reckon I was about 20 when that came out.
No, it can't be, because I was at high school, right? And we went on a exchange to Germany, and it was the first time ever I'd left home. And we were only, because we were not in that boyfriend girlfriend territory. We're in that, there's boys, and this is getting quite interesting like that early stages. So I reckon we were
one of the people listening Google, when was it the Brothers in Arms albums came out?
Yeah, when did it come out?
Google it.
It reminds me of that school trip we went for 2 weeks to Germany, and we had to stay with families. And I was staying with a family. All I remember is the girl's name, called Vera. And we had to go to the school, and this family lived out in the sticks, and I had to learn to cross-country ski to school. So it reminds me of that holiday. It reminds me of that school trip.
How cool is that? 1985. So, yeah, you might be right. Oh, no. Yeah. So, hang on.
Oh, really? No, that's when you went on a tour. But the album must have come out earlier, surely. Oh, anyway. Maybe it came out anyway. Good to see you, Nathaniel. Nathaniel Small. Hope you are well.
What have we got? It's 7:00. Gee, that time flew. And just 1, cocktail. That's all we needed. So what are you going to go cook for dinner now, Janine?
I'm not cooking anything. Hopefully.
That was obviously a rhetorical question. I'm going to cook spaghetti carbonara. It is, I swear, I've started doing this recently. The only ingredients you need besides pasta is bacon, garlic, eggs, and a bit of parsley if you want. And it literally takes about, you put the pasta in, and however long the pasta takes to cook, 8-10 minutes, you fry the bacon. So good. And because it's not cream, a lot of carbonara's got cream in it, which is like a bit.
I thought it was cream.
But yeah, no. Well, some is cream, but it's eggs and bacon and pasta. It's like,
well, I can eat the eggs and the bacon at the moment, but no pasta because of this silly keto diet thing that I'm doing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you don't need anything because you've got to drop another 700 grams.
Yeah, that's not far away.
You just bloody go do a poo, you'll be right.
That's someone was saying to me the other day.
On that advice.
Well, so let me just finish. Someone said to me the other day that they've got an idea for a great invention, and it's something that you put in the toilet that weighs your poo, so you can take that off and know how heavy you really are.
Why don't you just weigh yourself, go do your poo, and then weigh yourself again? Do that. That's when you.
That's like weighing the cats or the dogs. Oh my God, we have seriously deteriorated carbonara's to that.
We've covered things from serious stuff like mental health and pap smears, and we ended in poo. And so on that note, I think we finish before. Imagine if we bloody drank what we'd be talking about. We're going to finish. We will see you all in maybe another 3 or 4 weeks. We'll let you know when we're doing this again. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you.
Hope you've enjoyed our little banter. See you all soon.
Todd, he's appeared again. Todd, you went quiet for a while. We were worried we'd lost you.
Todd stayed. There you go. I'm putting the message up there, Todd. See you, Freya. See you, Tracy.
See you, everybody. Take care. Have a great evening. Keep safe and sane.